The title of this video is Formulating Positive Suggestions for a Hypnosis Session. A hypnosis session is generally designed to help change habits or existing attitudes to take your level to a higher performance, whether it's from negative to positive or from positive to an even more positive, greater performance. The 7 areas that I'd like you to consider represent the balance of your life, and those are physical, financial, mental, educational, family, social, and spiritual. For each suggestion, and I'm using the word suggestion as I would the word affirmation, as I would the word goals. It's what you want instead. It's projecting into the future. And the best way to predict the future is to create it. And the art of goal setting is the creation of one's future. So if you're formulating suggestions, here's 3 little elements for each one. I'll say the first one, then I'll clean it up. Be positive. What else would you be, right? That's how you would think. But now, for a moment, step aside in your mind and think about the most negative person in your entire world. Could be a relative, could be a friend, could be a working experience you have with somebody. That person, negative as you may see them, they don't think that they're negative, right? They think they're realistic. But in most cases, they frame the world in terms of what they don't want. They can tell you why things don't work. It's like the definition of a cynic who can tell you the cost of everything, but the value of nothing. So the first little element, there's one concept, but the first little element of it is write down suggestions of what you do want, not what you don't want. If you tell yourself what you don't want and even write it down, it doesn't clarify what you want instead. So number 1, write things down in terms of what you do want. Number 2, do it in the present tense. It's not a matter of I'm going to. You make a declarative statement. I am, I have, I do, I weigh X amount of pounds, I'm slim, trim, firm, and healthy. I am a non-smoker. I am a great public speaker. I earn $200,000 per year or more. I am consistent in my presentations and powerful as a closer, etc., etc., etc. So first off, frame these suggestions in terms of what you do want. Bring it into the present tense. I am, I have, I do. Number 3 ties this little concept all together. Write everything down in terms of the final end result. The end result. Not the process of getting there, but the end result. So again, I run 10Ks in 45 minutes or less. I wake up each morning filled with enthusiasm and energy, looking forward to the day. I sleep thoroughly, deeply, and wake up fully refreshed at the designated time each morning. So those are the formulations of suggestions. So you write a list. Now, you're not a one-trick pony. And even though you may have one priority that you're really going after, if you work with a multitude of things, and I'm saying in the neighborhood of maybe 10 to 15, you're not doing all of those things at the same time. But when it comes time to do those things, whether it's playing a round of golf or giving a business presentation or becoming a great listener at a seminar, the thoughts in your head will prompt your actions. So if you're coming from a place that you've always come from, the tendency is that you'll always get what you've been getting. That's the definition of insanity, wanting something different without changing the equation. If you want a different output, you create a different input. So you write down these positive suggestions and write down 10 or 15. Some of those things will happen immediately because you're less attached to them. Other things that you're more attached to may be more resistant. Doesn't matter. Because once you start seeing results, once you start seeing results, it's like an avalanche. Starts with a little trickle of snow, and then it gets bigger and more massive and more powerful as it continues to come down. And so it will be with your sessions. The little things will start stimulating the what if, and then you'll recognize that all things are changing for the very same reason, that you have the ability. It doesn't take a certain amount of time to change an attitude or a habit pattern, although you hear 21 days, 30 days. But there is a tipping point that everyone comes to who changes an existing attitude or habit pattern, and that tipping point can be instantaneously, or you can take days, you can take weeks, you can take months, or in some cases habits will never change because the perceived value of that end result is not nearly strong enough to overcome the resistance that we're building into the process. So that's in part why we kind of focus on the end result, not the process itself. Set the goal. You can certainly set intermediary goals to get you there, but do it in the present tense in terms of the final end result. Put your list together, and that's the list that you read from in your mind before the hypnosis session begins. Before you relax, read the list over. If you have 15 or 20 things on your list, it's going to take you a couple of minutes to look at or less. Not big paragraphs, short sentences, maybe even a phrase. But once you've put that aside, that's when you relax, and that's when you work with each one of your suggestions. The way that you work with each suggestion once you're relaxed, 3 things, and they have to do with how we internalize information. If you have any awareness of neurolinguistics, we are either predominantly auditory, visual, or kinesthetic. And what that means is hearing, seeing, feeling, and you would repeat the suggestion silently to yourself, such as, I weigh X amount of pounds, I am slim, trim, firm, and healthy. You then visualize perhaps yourself standing on a scale, recording those pounds. A reflection in the mirror shows that you are healthy, trim, fit-looking. And before you move on to the next suggestion, give yourself that feeling of excitement, the feeling that you've already accomplished what you set out to do. This charges your brain with dopamine. It's a chemical in the limbic, the mid-central portion of your brain. And when you attach it, that positive feeling, to each one of your goals, the reason that you'll make changes of habits and attitudes is not necessarily because you need to, have to, or want to, but because it feels good. So when you start doing things in the course of the day, that little shot of dopamine associated with whatever the task is going to get you past yourself, and you'll make the changes not out of willpower and toughing it out, but because it feels much more pleasurable to do what's right rather than what's easy. That's the lesson for the moment. Run with it, have a good time, and tune in for more to be coming shortly. Have a good day. Bye.